You're going to fail.
You can't study for Casper.
2 weeks? That's not enough.
You're not gonna get into medical school.
Anything below a fourth quartile will destroy you.
Just drop out.
Many of you may be hearing the same thoughts when it comes to Casper. We had the same thoughts. For this reason, we came up with strategies and we implemented them. We didn't score fourth quartile once,
Not twice.
Not 3 times.
but 4 times. Over the years, we fine-tuned the tips just for you and are going to show them to you in this video.
Let's go back in time. Let's go back to October when I started my Casper prep. I quickly realized that my responses needed help. I hated my responses. I knew that my major problem with my Casper responses was actually my typing speed. I was at around 30 words per minute. I needed to improve it, so I worked and eventually got it to around 50 words per minute. But that wasn't enough. I knew that nervousness would take away some words per minute when I was actually taking the actual Casper test, so I needed to get my words per minute up to around 80. And because of this, I needed something to help me increase my typing speed, which is where 10 Fast Fingers actually came to rescue. I wanted to use this website to be able to improve my typing speed, so I set a goal for myself to take 3 typing tests every single day. But I quickly changed that rule to pretty much taking a typing test whenever I had time. Whenever there were breaks in my lecture, whenever I came home from the gym and I had some free time, I would literally take typing tests whenever I could. And through this, I was actually able to bring up my typing speed all the way up to 90 words per minute.
Like many of you, I didn't know if what I had written down was good enough. I could get the words down, but how did I know that these words were better than all those other people who were taking the test as well? I asked around, mostly to medical students, what I can do to set myself apart. They unequivocally told me to focus on my structure and make sure that my passage was as easy to read as possible. So I set off on my journey to create the best Casper structure known to mankind. I started with a topic sentence. This would be my topic sentence for every question going forward. Every single question. Then I moved on to my main concerns line. I talked about the 4 ethical principles wherever relevant and mentioned the main conflict in the scenario at hand. I was finally getting somewhere. My answers were coming together. What I did for other parts of the questions was very similar. Came up with the structure and plugged in the details of the scenario for every single question. Did this work? Absolutely, but I needed something extra. See, it's well known that structure is important for your answers. So yes, having the structure puts me with all the other people, but it doesn't put me above them. My answer needed to be better. This is where your research comes into play. I spent hours in the first few days of my preparation looking up health conflicts and problems that are going on in the country. Showing increased knowledge about these ideas and applying that knowledge by coming up with unique ideas to address them, that's what takes your answer to the next level.
My main issue came with ensuring the quality of the 3rd question was up to par. In the typed Casper scenarios, there are 3 questions. You have 5 minutes to answer these 3 questions, and most often you're going to be budgeting most of that time for the 1st and 2nd question and having to rush through the last one, unfortunately. This 3rd question is usually a personal question. It may ask you for an experience of yours that may relate to the scenario or a particular dilemma that you might have encountered in your life. Therefore, you need to have personal experiences ready to go and to be able to answer any possible question they throw at you. For me, the main problem I had was I was wasting way too much time trying to choose the best possible experience. As a result, I was leaving the 3rd question incomplete or even blank at times. In my practice, this stressed me out quite a bit and I was feeling a lot of anxiety because of it. I had to take action about this problem, so what I did was I actually reviewed my ABS and started writing down experiences that I resonated with the most. Let me walk you through one of these stories. When I was the head teaching assistant at Kumon, I worked with a student with autism spectrum disorder. This student would often come to me with questions or concerns about particular mathematics problems that I knew he could solve by himself. It seemed that he didn't really require my assistance, but it was more so that he was not confident in his abilities. All he needed was a little bit of reassurance, and that's exactly what I did. I sat him down in a private setting after class, and I reassured him that he was capable of answering all of those problems by himself, and that he would only come to me for help if he absolutely needed it and had absolutely no idea. He would attempt to answer the questions initially. Although he was at first pretty apprehensive about this type of arrangement, What I noticed is that he progressively came less and less to asking for help, and eventually transitioned to a point where he was completely independent. And because of this, he actually aced his next mathematics test in school. And then he later on came and thanked me for believing in him. This was a real story about what happened during my time at Kumon, and by rehearsing it in my head and actually writing it down after the fact, I was able to store it for any possible question that I may encounter in the future where I would be able to use this type of story. Taking a step further, I actually wrote down 5 of my most impactful experiences throughout my undergraduate studies, similar to the experience I had at Kumon, and I used those for any future questions as well. This way, no matter what question I was given, I had an experience ready to go. This saved me 30 seconds per scenario, and when you only have 5 minutes, every single second counts. That's why it contributed to an increase in my confidence, as well as that 4th quartile Casper score.
Now guys, these 3 situations happen to every pre-med student that's taking the Casper test, which is why we wanted to create the MedBoys Sample Casper test. This 51-page document that we've created has an entire Casper test inside it, with 6 video scenarios and 8 written scenarios. And it also has realistic answers that we have created. You can check it out in the link in the description.
Tell us about some of the major Casper problems you've had in your preparation. We might even feature them in the next video, so comment them down below. We also have a bunch of Casper videos on this channel to help you with your exam, from Casper scenarios with answers to a complete walkthrough of how we would do a scenario. See you next Monday.